What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. This is going to be a controversial one, especially for the guys who are in the interracial dating community. And you know, this is no shot at you at all, but Boosie is back at it again, right? And obviously this comes from his last DJ Vlad interview. And, you know, Boosie is a very controversial figure with a explosive personality. I think that he's a dummy, but he definitely says what he feels. And that's kind of unusual in today's world, where some of that can be looked at as hate speech, or people are very sensitive, people want to cancel you. But, you know, Boosie talked about interracial dating, and I was going to cover this a few days ago, but unfortunately I had so many stories to cover. But Boosie said that when he sees white men at the airport, he's usually with a very attractive woman, and I'm not going to say it in the way that he said it. We'll post it here, right? But I'm not going to say what he said. But when you see a black man, he's with a white lady that looks like a Sesame Street character, similar to Miss Piggy. And he says that if black men are going to date white women, they have to do better. Now, let me just say this. I have lived in many places. Okay, I've lived in Europe. I've lived in the United States. I've visited South America. I've lived in Africa. So I have a really good sample size to see when I see black African American or African men dating white women. And usually I will say that from the outside looking in, because I don't date white women, but I know there's many guys that I know personally that do. From the outside looking in my opinion, a white woman who is very attractive, who looks very, very good, has a lot of options in all communities, because she would be considered the standard of beauty. I'm just breaking down what I'm saying here. Now, that's the Indian guys, that's the Asian guys, that are the white guys. And typically, if it's a white woman that white people consider attractive, she has a lot of options, and if she stays in the white community, it's more favored. The issue is, a white woman who could possibly like black men, if she's going to deal with black men, there's a lot to pay for her in the society. For example, if you get a very attractive white woman here in Poland and they're dating a white man, or, you know, a non-Polish guy, it's not looked at as very favorable, unless that black man can overcome that with his economic finance. Let's say, you know, he's a U.S. citizen or something like that. He has something going on for himself. He can overcome the fact that he's black. And usually that has to do with being able to financially contribute over the average guy, let's say here in Poland or even United States. You know, that's why athletes, you know, men who have means, they can get very attractive white women. I'm talking about like on the level of like Vanna White, something like that. Kobe Bryant, if he was, you know, guys like that. But on the average though, the average black man that's dating the average woman in America, the average white woman, typically, I'm not saying this is usually the truth, but typically what you can get in black America is equivalent to what you would get in looks in white America. Now, I'm not talking about how good she treats you, because I know that there's some white women who are a little bit better looking than the average sister, and they have, you know, better treatment. I know that exists. But typically in looks, you know, and you can couple that with a lot of times black men being a little bit more, how can I say this without being offensive? Black men are less lenient on physical appearance. Meaning that the white woman doesn't have to be, you know, very thin. She could be have a little bit more weight. He'll be a little bit accepting of it, just like he would in the black community. And so what happens is that, and then also it where you live, what your educational background is, and how much money you make, will put you in a position to what kind of white woman that you can get. If you're a guy and you're like 60K and below, it might be quite difficult for you to get some of the top attractive white women that are competing with guys that, make more money and stuff like that. And if you see what average black men make, most of the average black men out there are dating women that are average. Okay. And so black men being also lenient. Yeah. I typically never hardly see black men with super attractive white women unless that man is very successful. Okay. That's typically are exceptionally good looking. But if he is either one or both, then you're able to get more of a high quality, high looking woman. For the average guy, we see it all the time, and we don't want to have to lie about it. You go to Walmart, you see brothers and they dating interracially. A lot of times you're not seeing the average brother with the woman that's like very good looking. And to be fair, you can say that in the black community, right? But what Boosie is saying is, if you're going to deal with white women, you got to do better. Here's my one argument to Boosie. Okay, looks are not everything, and I say that as a man who specifically loves black women and only wants to deal with them. But you got to understand that looks only get you so far. A lot of guys who are dealing with a woman who might be a little bit chubby, who might be a BBW, and if that's all they can get in the black community, then are those kind of quality of women, let's say, for example, then what they're going to look for is the everyday thing. Like, is she nice? Can she get along? Stuff like that. And I think a lot of times when you're a guy like Boosie and you have access to the best looking women of any race because of who you are, you forget a lot about the average guy. And the average guy is looking for the best deal on who treats him the best. Sometimes a guy don't have a problem with a white woman being unattractive as long as she's nice, as long as she can learn something. She might have good skills. She might be an accountant. She might know how to organize his business. She might know how to organize his life. I mean, that's happened a lot of times in the black community. We had a restaurant called Jimmy's that was on Grand Avenue. Jimmy was from Oakland. It's he has since passed, but his wife was white, and she did a lot of the stuff, in the business. She was very supportive of him. So there are traits that these women may have that these guys are interested in that are not always physical. Okay, because I think a lot of black men are dealing with women if they don't have many options. Then if they can't get very attractive women for whatever reason, what they're looking at is, okay, well then what's going on? Like, how am I getting treated? Because maybe sometimes a white woman who is, because a black woman who might be unattractive might be entitled. A white woman who might not be might be as attractive might adore you. And that's what happens. A lot of times if you try to even deal with women in the black community that might not look so good, they have an attitude as if they're a 10. I mean, you see it all the time on Kevin Samuel's show. Whereas if you go to the white community where, a woman might understand like, hey, I'm not the best looking girl. This is just what we're saying. It may come off as, this woman is more interested in me and pursue me. And that's what happens too. A lot of times women who are unattracted from other groups will pursue black men more actively. That's something I want to talk about. They'll make themselves more available. White women in general tend to be, I think, a little bit more friendly. Black women are a little bit more standoffish with black men. And so they're a little bit more friendly, more easy to get to know. Will come up and say something to you if you're in the same workspace or in the same place. Will talk to you, will offer things, stuff like that. And black women typically don't do it as much. So that's probably why you see so many black men that deal with white women. And again, I think the ultimate thing is for long-term relationships for the average black man, even above average black man, is how does she treat me and is she offering value? Because the woman that might be very attractive and good looking in the black community might not understand how to treat a man as much as maybe the one that's Miss Piggy looking, as he said. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Drunk. I really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, check out the first comment pinned to the top. As you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. Don't forget the black men are perfect t-shirts. I'm out.